Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with my second layout of the day, being Monday the 2nd. And I'm going to combine day 2 of Scrap Squad's 12 Days of Autumn Scraplifts with my Scrap Backwards weekly page. So I'm using all Scrap Backwards kit products, and I'm going to do this scrap lift, which is basically a couple of torn borders. This one has 2 little torn pieces, a lot of scraps, some vertical, some horizontal, and a title and some journaling. It's a Kiri Baldwin layout, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to try to see what I can do with that. I've got a variety of scraps, and I took the liberty of tearing this piece. This is the last of my this paper right here, which is a 7 Gypsies paper from the Barcelona collection, and it's a paper called Sabadell, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a 2009 paper, and this is the branding strip, and this is their logo, and their story is that as a family, there were 7 of them, mother and father and 5 children, and they just kind of took off on a journey, and one of their stops was making these amazing papers. So I think I'm going to cut this out and put it on the layout, because I think this is my last sheet of 7 Gypsies 12 by 12 paper. I do have some 8 by 8, an 8 by 8 collection of theirs called Mykonos. So let me really quickly fussy cut this out. I'm not going to get real precise here, but I do want to sneak it into the page. And of course, when I do my labeling on the back, I'll remind myself that it was the last piece of that paper. Okay, I'm not sure where I'm going to put that. I'm going to put it there. So let's get to work. I'm first going to do the torn strips on the sides, and I will bring this back into frame. I'll bring the original back into frame in a minute. Right now, I'm just going to do this. I'm using both sides of it here, and I'm not quite sure how I should do that. I think what I'm going to do, let me see if I can figure out. I'm going to put a thin bead of glue, wet glue, along the edge, and then try to scooch the other paper under it while the glue is still wet, so that it'll go through. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue on this at the top and the bottom and the middle, and I'm going to lift here. I'm hoping the glue didn't dry too fast. I'll kind of do this, and in the original, Kiri has stitched the 2 pages together, and you know I'm not going to do that. I think that looks cool. Okay, but what I will do to kind of give you that division between the 2 is I'll fold back the torn edge. And then I'll fold back this one as well. And it'll give it a lot of texture. And when you look at the photo, you won't know whether it's the pattern paper that was torn or the white paper. So there's what that looks like. And this one, I'm going to use the blue and white striped. I actually should use the brown because I'm using Army photos from Barrett that he has sent us from basic training. One of them, I'll show you in a minute. Come on. One of them is a training exercise where they had to crawl in mud. It's called the crawl, I think. I think that's what... I feel like I'm at a bit of a disadvantage when he and his dad talk about what he's doing. James only too well remembers all of those exercises and had actually probably talked to Barrett about many of them before he went in, before he signed up. And I've gotten a couple of really nice letters from Barrett saying, I think he's learning and growing and benefiting from all the self-growth that there is. Okay, so I think that's done. I want to permanently peel some of these back so that the brown polka dots show. Now I've got these different size scraps that I'm going to arrange. I like that one. That is also an old paper. I think it's either Little Yellow Bicycle or it is Jelly Bean soup. I think it's jelly bean soup. I think that's what that is. This is a Chamel paper. Kind of goes nicely with that, doesn't it? This one, I think I could cut shorter. Let me just snip off a bit. This is I think it's Fancy Pants. Let me kind of tuck that in there. I'm going to throw in a really bright stripe here. This is the photo strip, so I want this one maybe behind there, and then this one kind of like so, and then I will do the photo across there because the colors here are too similar to the colors that are there, so that's kind of why I wanted to do that. And this, I think, is going to work without this. I could probably use that. Let's just do it. I have another piece of 49 and market paper over, and I'm not caring what size I cut these things, as you have noticed, no doubt. Because I figure I can kind of make all that work. Let's get this out of the way. I'm going to move this off to the side, and I'll put my sticker sheets over on my second desk, which is the other chair that sits at this table. So now, and I can't forget my little 7 Gypsies car. So right now, let's go with this. I love using this Chamel paper because it has all the buggies that he has no doubt encountered in his let's do that. And I could distress the edges of these. I started to, but to be honest, the I'm gonna put that right there. The 7 Gypsies paper is fairly thin, and I didn't want to try to, I knew I couldn't distress it very well. Let's see, are we going to put that under there? I don't know where it was to begin with. Let me get my original back. And it doesn't really matter where things were. I think I know where I want them to be now. This bright stripe was going to be on this side, but I don't want to cover that up. I want it to show that that goes all the way through. So I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to put a very thin strip of it. And then I'll put this here, and let me see if that works. I maybe need it over a bit, because I think that works well. And there's some layers kind of building up, so I'm not sure. Is that gonna work? I think so. I don't need foam underneath there, but I am gonna use some foam to raise the photo up. I stapled the two photos together, and I didn't put a frame on them because I kind of wanted this effect. I wanted them to be popping out of all of these patterns. Let me get it equal distance from this piece of paper and this piece of paper. And Helen is probably cheering that I'm using brown. Okay, so let me kind of sneak this guy in. Well, you know what? I should hold off on doing that. Now, let me just pull some random embellishments. I have, of course, some of these clips. I also have a top of a tag where I made a mistake in cutting some stuff. I have some gears that might work. That one could go just right there. It's definitely a corner gear, and the colors work. I mean, all colors would work here. All colors are welcome. I love them all. And let me put this maybe right, well, I want to be sure that I have room for this right here. So I can put this maybe right here. And I'll put this one on some foam. Get a little piece of foam. And I'll overlap it right there. And I can take this piece of, ooh, there's where the car's gonna go. Just kind of sneak it right into that cluster. This guy can go here. And this needs a little bit of foam on that bottom part just to raise it up a bit. And I think this is going to be a quick one. I can write some journaling. I'll use this to kind of obscure the edge of that brown paper. And that, I think, is gonna work to raise it up. Let's see if there's anything else in here that I might want to use. I like the idea of having a butterfly somewhere because this boy is changing, and mostly he's changing so that he's no longer a boy. And I like just that accent of the butterfly wing. Let's see if I have anything else. I have a bunch of tropical stuff. There's a bird that may not be appropriate. I do know that I want a bee. We always have a bee for Barrett's pages. I kind of like, I think I'm just going to leave it at the gears. And it's kind of a tradition that I put flowers on his pages, because someone once made the statement that I only scrapbook boys. I don't know why they put so many flowers in the embellishment kits. I can't put flowers on boy layouts. So I asked Barrett, I said, Barrett, I've been putting flowers on your layouts because I put flowers on all layouts. And he says, yeah, sure. And he reminded me how much he used to love following me around in the garden, looking at all the flowers. So as a kind of a tradition, kind of like putting bees, I put flowers on his layout. And these I picked, I just looked over at my collection of, well, I'll bring it out. I have this little bucket filled with a whole bunch of different collections of Pink Fresh flowers. Some are fussy cut, some are ephemera, and some actually, ooh, there's a piece of paper right there that belongs on this page, don't you think? That's just a little scrap of torn paper. Let me see if I can fit that in. Anyway, there's a like a floral stamp. That would be cool because we're using stamps around here now. I kind of like this, and I think it would work. See, we've almost covered up that bright stripe, and this is gonna cover even more, but I like it too well not to use it. It's a great, well, actually I could use it here. Let me do that, and I'll put a little bit of foam under it. And I'm talking about flowers, and I found something else to put down. So let's see. Does that work? Let me do this. And this. Okay. So let's put this up here, and it kind of works really well behind that that little piece right there. Where can this go? Where does this want to go? Maybe, and I do want to use it on this side, but right there I would be covering that up. So how about I try it? I'll cut it in half and let it run. Or if I do this, then I'm covering up that chenille piece. So how about I make it an edge on the chenille piece? Nope, I'm not liking that. This may not belong on this page. How about if I did it like so? I think this is going to work. You've seen me use the yellow side. This is a basic gray paper. I couldn't tell you what collection or anything about it, because when I got it, it was a scrap from the old days when I didn't save, you know, the identity of the papers. Okay, let me put that there, like that. And then I'm hoping this is exactly long enough to go down here. Oh my gosh, it is. Okay. If it wasn't, I wasn't going to worry. I was just going to put an embellishment over the part that didn't fit over the gap. It did, all the color went up here. So this is not getting that color. And there's a tiny little gap, but it's not even worth embellishing. It just looks like a whitish stripe. So I think I'm done, except for the journaling. I would like to see if I can put this stamp in there somehow, but I'm not going to. Let me put this back away and stop all this foolishness. Okay, I'm happy with it, and I thank you for watching. Bye, see you tomorrow.